John Dutton raises his hand, signaling the start of a brutal day. He stands beside a blood-soaked horse, gun in hand, ready to defend. John walks away, hat in hand, leaving death behind him. He surveys heavy machinery, a threat to his land, with cold eyes. John leans into a wrecked car, blood on his face, no mercy shown. Jamie Dutton speaks at a podium, playing politics for the ranch. Jamie listens, tense as the room watches his every move. A woman speaks at a press conference, her words sharp and calculated. Jamie faces a man, their conversation laced with hidden threats. Firefighters watch as a man leads a horse away from the hills. The horse's reins tighten, pulled by someone unseen in the chaos. Beth Dutton stares out a window, plotting her next ruthless move. She stands over a man in an office, power radiating from her. A man in a suit smiles, but his eyes betray his true intentions. He leans in, whispering something that makes Beth's jaw tighten. Beth speaks, her voice low, delivering a warning no one ignores. She glares, her silence louder than any shout in the room. Jamie stands rigid as Beth walks past, tension thick in the air. Beth turns, eyes locked on someone, ready to strike if needed. A truck drives past a casino sign, heading toward the Dutton land. A truck pulls up near a half-built structure. Someone watches from inside, hidden behind wooden beams. Kids run across the yard as a horse stands nearby. Laughter echoes as they chase each other under the sun. Case Dutton peers through metal bars, voice low. He's inside a trailer watching something unfold outside. Children stand still, eyes wide. One girl in red looks up as a tractor rumbles behind them in the dust. Monica smiles softly beside a horse. She doesn't speak, but her hand rests gently on its neck. Case walks beside Monica across dry land. He keeps his hands in his pockets. Another man follows behind. A close-up, blood trickles from a stitched wound on someone's head. The injury is fresh, deep, and raw. Jamie Dutton stands in a wood-paneled room. He speaks sharply, eyes locked on someone out of frame. Jamie looks down, jaw tight. He doesn't move, but his silence screams louder than any shout in the room. Jamie stands between two ranchers in a field. One holds a cup. Tension hangs thick in the open air. Jamie stares ahead, unblinking. His suit is crisp, but his posture says he's ready for a fight. The camera sweeps over endless plains. Mountains rise in the distance. No roads, no signs of life. Men in suits watch security footage on a TV. One leans forward. Something on screen makes them all freeze. A hand grips a gun under a jacket. The fabric strains. No one sees it, but the threat is real. An older man in a straw hat watches the horizon. He doesn't speak. The wind carries his silence far. John Dutton stares ahead, jaw set. He's outdoors, alone, but his presence commands the whole sky. A crowd watches from bleachers. Some hold hats. All eyes are locked on something happening below. A cowboy on horseback guides cattle through gates. The crowd watches. He doesn't look back. He's in control. John Dutton turns to Jamie, voice low. He doesn't raise it, but Jamie knows he's being warned. John Dutton leans in close to an older man. Their words are quiet, but the air between them crackles. John Dutton sits stiffly, listening as a woman speaks. He doesn't move, but his silence speaks volumes. He turns his head slowly, eyes locked on the woman. His jaw tightens. This isn't a conversation, it's a standoff. Rangers mill around, uniforms crisp. Someone holds a pamphlet, plans are being laid. John sees them all. A document reads, Radis Valley Master Plan, 1326 homes. This isn't just land, it's a war waiting to start. The hills go dark, no lights, no movement, just the wind, but someone is watching, always watching. John leans on a fence, hat low. A horse stands nearby. He's alone, but he's never really alone out here. In a truck, John stares ahead. The driver talks, but John doesn't answer. His mind's already on the next move. The driver glances at him, then back to the road. John's silence is louder than any threat he could make. John walks among cattle, hand on his belt. He doesn't need to shout. The animals know who's in charge. A hoof steps on dry grass. A shadow moves. Something's coming, not cattle, not men. Something worse. John bends low, voice quiet. He's not talking to the ground, he's talking to the land. It listens. He stands beside the driver, hands folded. The sky's clear. But the air? It's thick with coming trouble. A black Mercedes rolls up to the ranch. No one gets out. No one needs to. The message is clear. Beth's voice cracks as she yells at Jamie. She won't back down. He won't back down. Neither will win. Ranch hands lean on a fence watching. They don't speak. They don't need to. They know what's coming. John raises binoculars, scanning the ridge. He sees movement. He doesn't flinch. He's ready. A man in a jacket smiles at John, too wide, too fake. John doesn't smile back. He doesn't trust it. John crosses his arms, standing tall. The man's smile fades. He realizes he's not in control here. The man's face falls. He thought he had the upper hand. He doesn't. John owns this land. And this moment, Jamie stands in the dark doorway, hand on his belt. He's waiting. He's always waiting. For what? He doesn't know. John Dutton fishes alone, the river calm before the storm he knows is coming. Case rides with his son, the quiet moment a rare peace in his fractured life. Case shares food with his boy, trying to give him something solid in a broken world. Case stares off, haunted by choices he can't undo, and ghosts he can't escape. Rip sharpens a knife, his silence louder than any threat he could ever speak. Rip collapses in the grass, the weight of loyalty and violence too much to bear. Rip sits alone, his mind racing with plans only he and John understand. John surveys the land with his men, the blueprints for war already in his hands. They stand before bulldozers and a coming soon sign. This is no accident. A man smirks near the sign, knowing the Duttons won't back down without a fight. Monica argues with her sister, their words sharp, their fears deeper than they admit. Case's brother-in-law watches, tension thick as he waits for the storm to break. The man beside him leans back, pretending calm while his mind races ahead. Case lounges as women move around him, his body relaxed, his mind on edge. Men gather on a porch at night, shadows hiding what they're really planning. A man in a suit stands still, his calm a warning. This isn't just a business deal. Case looks up, sensing danger creeping closer than he expected. Case lowers his gaze, knowing the fight is already here. He just has to choose. Bison roam free, wild and untamed, just like the land the Duttons refuse to lose. John rides beside a rival. Both men on horseback, both ready to draw first blood. John rides across the open land, watching his bison graze. He knows trouble is coming. He stands with a ranch hand, eyes fixed on the horizon. The threat is real and growing. John leans against his truck as someone approaches. A tense moment hangs in the air. Monica faces John, her voice firm. She won't back down, no matter the cost. Case walks beside John, silent. The weight of his choices presses down on him. Case turns to John, his words sharp. He's done running from his past. John stares at Case, unblinking. He sees the man his son has become. Case looks away, jaw tight. He's ready to fight for his family, for his land. A young man argues with a rancher near a horse. Tensions boil over fast here. A man steps out of a red barn, gun in hand. He's not here to talk. A rancher walks toward John, head down. He's got bad news and no easy answers. Case sits alone, shoulders slumped. The fight is taking its toll on him. Case laughs in the dark, wild-eyed. He's not afraid, he's ready for blood. Headlights cut through the night. Someone's coming fast, and it's not for peace. A small bird darts through the grass. Even nature knows danger is near. John watches, face hard. He's seen this before, he won't let it happen again. Monica lies awake under a quilt. She's waiting for someone to break the silence. A boy stands in a doorway, wide-eyed. He's heard the shouting and he's scared. Monica steps outside, breathing deep. She's bracing herself for what's next. A helicopter lands near the ranch. John climbs out, ready to take control. Case holds Monica tight in a field, refusing to let go as the sun sets behind them. John walks past a yellow excavator, his steps heavy with the weight of what's coming. He stops, his voice low and sharp as he warns someone off his land for good. Inside, a man listens, jaw clenched, knowing the Duttons don't back down from a fight. Beth sits still, hand on her chin, already plotting how to turn this to their advantage. John stands among his people, hat low, watching the horizon like a general at war. Boots crunch through dry grass. Someone's moving in, and they're not here to talk. A man turns his head slowly, eyes fixed on something only he can see coming. John faces off with another, words sharp as knives, no room for compromise now. The helicopter lands as men gather, ready for whatever John orders next. The sky darkens. Silence falls, but tension hangs thick in the air. No sound, no movement, just the calm before the storm hits hard. Stillness holds. Every breath feels like a countdown to violence. The quiet screams louder than any gunshot. Everyone waits for the first move. Nothing stirs. But everyone knows this peace won't last past sunrise. Not a word, not a step. Just the weight of what's about to break loose. A cowboy stands by his horse, hand on the reins, waiting for the signal to ride. Rip leans on the fence, eyes scanning the land, always watching, always ready. John steps up beside him, voice low. They're not just protecting land, they're defending legacy. Rip grabs a rider's arm, pulling him close. No time for mistakes now. Dust flies as a truck speeds past the ranch fence. Someone is coming, and they mean business. A shadowy figure aims a rifle. The name Cole Hauser flashes. This is no ordinary threat. Machinery tears into the earth. Taylor Sheridan's name appears. This land won't give up without a fight. A boy stands alone outside a trailer. He's waiting for someone who may never come back. Case Dutton smiles, holding a glove. He's playing a game, but it's not for fun. An ATV explodes in flames. Someone just made a deadly mistake on Dutton land. Case walks toward the boy as a woman watches from the porch. Family is complicated here. Shattered glass lies on the dirt. Something violent just happened, and it's not over yet. Jamie Dutton stands in a suit, calm but tense. He's ready to negotiate or lie. A woman in a blazer speaks sharply. She's not here to make friends. She's here to win. She turns, eyes narrowed. She knows Jamie's playing a dangerous game, and she's watching. Jamie follows her into a dim room. Whatever they're hiding, it's big and risky. Jamie looks down, jaw tight. He's about to do something he can't take back. A door creaks open. Someone's listening, and they're not supposed to be there. John Dutton leans against a stable rail. He's waiting for the storm to hit. Jamie faces John, voice steady. He's trying to explain, but John doesn't look convinced. John grabs Jamie's collar. Words won't fix this. The gloves are off now. Two men kneel in a ditch beside a wrecked machine. They're searching for answers or a body. John stares at the ground, breathing hard. He's seen this before, and it never ends well. John grabs Case's shoulder. He's not asking, he's ordering. The fight starts now. John Dutton walks alone across his land, the weight of his fight heavy on his shoulders. Jamie Dutton walks beside John, trying to explain his actions, but John doesn't answer. John stops, turns to Jamie, and warns him his patience is running out. John leans on a fence, staring into the distance, thinking about the battles ahead. A man in a suit reviews documents, plotting against the Duttons from his office. John buries his face in his arms on the fence, overwhelmed by the pressure. John watches another man walk past, his eyes sharp, never letting his guard down. A young man leads a horse, preparing for work, unaware of the coming storm. Beth Dutton stands by a barn, arms crossed, waiting for someone to make a move. John sits in the stands, his hand resting near his belt, ready for anything. John turns to a man beside him, his voice low, sharing a dangerous secret. The man beside John nods, understanding the gravity of what John just said. John smiles faintly as he watches the crowd, masking his true thoughts. Beth sits in a car at night, her voice calm but her words laced with threat. Case Dutton stares back at her, his silence louder than any answer he could give. Beth runs through the dark woods, laughing, her freedom a dangerous game. Beth stops, turns, and grins at Casey, knows she's playing with fire. Case lies in bed, eyes open, haunted by choices he can't undo. Case sits up, grabs his boots, and prepares to face whatever comes next. Case walks into a dim room, gun in hand, ready to protect what's his. John Dutton sits in his office, staring into the distance. He's weighing his next move against the threats closing in. He lifts his head, eyes sharp. The weight of the ranch rests on his shoulders, and he won't back down now. John walks into a quiet church, the stained glass casting colored shadows. He needs a moment of stillness before the storm. He kneels, hands clasped. The silence is heavy, filled with the ghosts of choices made and battles yet to come. A priest approaches. John speaks low, seeking counsel or perhaps absolution for the violence he knows is coming. The priest stands at the pulpit, addressing the congregation. His words carry weight, but John hears only his own thoughts. The priest continues, his voice steady, but John's mind is already elsewhere, planning how to protect his land. Jamie Dutton sits in the pews, stiff-backed. He watches the priest, but his thoughts are on his father's expectations. Jamie steps outside, speaking to the priest. He tries to sound confident, but his voice betrays his inner conflict. Case Dutton walks alone across a barren field, phone to his ear. He's caught between two worlds, and neither feels like home. Monica stands outside a house, her voice tense. She's warning Case, but he's already making his choice. Case drives with Monica, her words hanging in the air. He's listening, but his mind is already set on what must be done. Smoke rises in the distance. A truck burns near a destroyed structure, Someone has already made their move against the Duttons. A body lies in the grass, engulfed in flames. The message is clear, this war just got personal, and no one is safe. Monica stands by the truck, hand on her neck. She's shaken, but she knows this is the cost of standing with Case. Case stares down, jaw tight. The fire's glow reflects in his eyes. He's ready to fight, no matter the cost. Case and Monica sit on the tailgate, surrounded by wreckage. Lawmen stand nearby, watching them like suspects. A tribal officer confronts Case. He stands firm, refusing to flinch. He won't let anyone take what's his or hers. Case kneels beside the burning body, the heat licking his skin. He's not just mourning, he's preparing for war. Case turns to a man, shirtless, tattoo visible. He speaks low, making a promise, this ends with him, or with blood. Case talks with a man wrapped in a towel, their conversation tense and heavy. Case stares hard, his jaw set, as he listens to the man beside him. At night, figures move near a building. A truck parks nearby under harsh lights. A body bag is dragged across a floor, its contents hidden but unmistakable. An old man checks a machine, his face tight with worry as lights flash red. A man in a leather jacket watches from the shadows, his eyes sharp and cold. Case slams his head against a steering wheel, rage and pain twisting his face. He grips the wheel, knuckles white, eyes burning with a dangerous focus. A man smokes, staring at a bottle labeled formaldehyde, lost in thought. He grabs a tool from a counter, his movements quick and deliberate. A woman speaks urgently, her voice low, her words meant only for Case. Rip confronts the man in the lab, hands raised, voice low and threatening. Rip grabs the man, shoves him hard against a metal cabinet in the lab. He forces the man toward a door, his grip unyielding, his purpose clear. Rip snaps the man's neck, the sound sharp, the body falling limp to the floor. The man lies still on the floor, his task done, his life ended in silence. A microwave hums on a counter, the only sound in the suddenly quiet room. The woman watches Case, her eyes filled with fear and unspoken questions. Case turns to her, his voice soft, his gaze holding hers with quiet intensity. He reads to a child, his voice calm, a rare moment of peace in a violent world. A woman whispers urgently on the phone, her voice low with fear. John kneels at a grave, placing a wooden box beside Evelyn's cross. The screen cuts to black, credits roll for the executive producer. Two riders on horseback move across a field. March 30th, 1997. A woman in a cowboy hat closes her eyes, breathing deeply. She lies motionless on the ground, blood trickling from her mouth. A young boy on horseback looks back, his face pale with shock. He collapses beside a broken fence, cradling the fallen woman. Men gather around a horse, their voices tense with urgency. Cattle stampede through a corral as riders struggle to control them. Riders race across open land, the mountains looming behind them. They stop on a ridge, surveying the vast, snow-dusted valley. John pulls the boy close, holding him tightly in the tall grass. The boy screams into the night, gun raised, his voice raw with rage. Bison move through a golden haze, their hooves kicking up dust. Silhouettes of men watch the herd from a distance, silent and still. A cow's head is dragged through mud, its eyes wide and unseeing. John stares at a family photo, his hand trembling slightly. A woman steps into a room, her arms outstretched, blocking the way. A man fires at targets, bullets exploding water jugs in a dusty field. Case drives, eyes locked ahead, the boy beside him silent and shaken. The boy covers his face, clutching a cup, trying to block out the world. Jamie stands alone in the dark kitchen, gripping the counter like it's his last hope. Jamie bows his head, voice low, wrestling with a decision only he can make. Beth strides across the yard, robe open, bottle in hand, ignoring the rules. Beth laughs, shirtless against the fence, taunting the world with her defiance. She takes a deep breath, eyes closed, steeling herself for what's next. A woman arrives, smiling, clutching a bag, unaware of the storm inside. A van pulls up, tires crunching gravel, signaling trouble is here. Beth slumps, voice raw, the weight of her choices crashing down. Case glances at the boy, jaw tight, knowing this road won't be easy. The boy stares ahead, eyes wide, the horror of what he saw still fresh. Case steps out, scanning the land, ready to face whatever comes. A body lies still under a sheet, the air thick with dread and silence. Case grabs the boy's hand, pulling him away from the truck, fast. Smoke rises, thick and choking, swallowing the land in a deadly haze. The boy crawls through a pipe, heart pounding, desperate to escape. The van sits abandoned, door open, as if its driver vanished into thin air. A boot stomps down, heavy and final, signaling a threat is closing in. A man sprints across the field, breath ragged, running for his life. Case carries a terrified boy, blood on his shirt, fleeing through darkness. He stops, scanning the open land, knowing danger is close behind. A woman is bound, tape over her mouth, blood streaking her face. Case checks on her in the truck, his voice calm but urgent. He steps out, jaw tight, staring at the empty, hostile horizon. They stand over a body in the dirt, the boy holding a rope. Case drags the body deeper into the brush, hiding the evidence. A rattlesnake coils near the truck tire, warning them to leave. Jamie talks on the phone. John sits across, demanding action now. Jamie hangs up, face set, ready to handle the fallout himself. He walks down the hall, determined to fix what's gone wrong. A figure watches from behind trees, hidden near a white house. Case confronts a man outside, voice low, tension thick in air. Books line shelves, a poster reads, "Release Leonard Peltier" behind. A door closes softly, sunlight cutting across the wooden frame. A black SUV pulls up fast, tires kicking up dust on the road. Troopers aim guns at a man in a suit, demanding he surrender. He raises his hands, cuffed, eyes locked on the officers ahead. A quiet living room, coffee mug on table, papers scattered around. Case and the man stand side by side, both ready for what's next. Case stands outside a house facing someone. He looks down, silent. A red truck pulls up to a small house in the desert. Dust flies. Case talks to a woman at his truck window. She turns away. The truck stays parked. No one moves. The wind blows dry grass. A sheriff opens a black truck door. Someone steps out inside. Two officers escort a man down a hallway. He walks slowly. The man in orange looks down, then lifts his head. He's inside. He stares at a man in a cowboy hat. They don't speak yet. The cowboy hat hides his face. He leans forward slightly. John Dutton lifts his head. His voice is low and steady. The man in orange listens. He doesn't blink. He doesn't move. John keeps talking. His words hang heavy in the quiet room. The man in orange finally speaks. His voice is calm, firm. John nods once. He doesn't look away. The deal is made. John turns and walks out. The door closes behind him. A rider on horseback gallops past a fence. Dust kicks up. Beth Dutton smiles. She leans back, arms crossed, confident. She talks to John. Her tone is sharp, but her eyes are soft. John looks down, then meets her gaze. He doesn't smile. He speaks quietly. Beth listens. The wind rustles the trees. Dawn breaks over the ranch, quiet but heavy with tension. Case stands alone in the dark, his mind racing with past choices. Men move through the night, their steps silent, their purpose clear. They surround a man, holding bottles like weapons, ready to act. Case watches, his jaw tight, knowing what comes next. He gives a nod. The men pour the liquid, preparing for violence. Janie sits on the porch, the weight of the night pressing down. He walks inside, his steps slow, his thoughts darker than the halls. Beth smokes, her voice low as she warns someone off. Jamie turns, his face hard, refusing to back down from her. He strides into the barn, his anger building with every step. He stops, a cruel smile spreading as he sees what's ahead. Beth confronts him, her words sharp, her temper flaring. She shoves him, her rage boiling over into physical force. She falls to the ground, her body crashing onto the hard floor. Her hair spills across the floor as she struggles to rise. Jamie pours a drink, his hands steady despite the chaos. A hand grabs his neck, a threat whispered in his ear. John enters, his silence louder than any words he could say. Jamie looks away, the truth of his actions settling in. John Dutton stands silent as Case walks away, tension thick in the air. Case turns to face John, words unspoken but heavy between them. John stares hard at Case, demanding answers without saying a word. Case leaves the room, his steps echoing with unresolved anger. Beth laughs bitterly at a party, masking her pain with sharp words. She leans in close to a man, her voice low and dangerous. Rip checks on a horse, his mind clearly elsewhere, restless. John sits alone in the barn, staring into the dark, thinking. He leans back against the wall, boots crossed, lost in thought. John doesn't move, his silence louder than any shout. Rip looks down, jaw tight, knowing the weight of what's coming. The barn door creaks shut, plunging the space into darkness. John remains still, the only sound his slow, steady breath. Trucks arrive at dawn, engines rumbling as workers prepare. The ranch stretches wide under a pale morning sky, quiet. A framed photo of Lee Dutton sits on a shelf, untouched. Monica smiles softly, sunlight cutting through the blinds. Case rides hard across the open land, chasing something. He dismounts and runs toward a trailer, urgency in his stride. A man inside the trailer holds his hat, waiting for Case.